play of the game from way down.
True, silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bomb's going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bombstastic gonna find Rainer.
Oh, the life finder keeps Maev up. It was gonna be a close thing.
And healing, what? Get out of no! No!
Triple stun again. Big flanks coming out from the Blaze.
It's a death metal though.
Death metal into the double, triple kill.
All right, and welcome back, everybody. We're in for the final game of the day. Match number 6. This one's going to be Zul'jin Distillery and ProBUs. Joined tonight by Ektar, my co-caster and lead moderator for NGS.
Head moderator, if you want to be technical, which I always do.
I was just waving because I was like, it's coming, it's coming. Technically correct as opposed to. So good deal. So we're gonna go ahead and hop right into this. Zul'jin Distillery, ProBUs. First map is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen. And we got to get this show on the road because I have practice soon. Don't.
Tomb of the Spider Queen, one of my personal favorite maps. Really favors teams that have strong macro play and good rotations.
And we'll see if that's what we get out of these two teams as we get the game started. So we've got the Johanna with Thrall Lunara, so kinda. We can get the Hanzo at level 4. And Leo, good Leo and Kael'thas, good wave clear on that side.
Both teams have really good poke with the potential to really turn up the aggression if they want to. Just going off of the base heroes they choose. And so for game number 1, spawning in on the left-hand side, we have Zul'jin Distillery with DeWitt playing Kael'thas, Beefresh playing James Raynor, Nutcracker playing Leoric, Ankle-Shot playing Muradin, and Letastar playing Malfurion.
And for ProBUs, we have Sage on Hanzo, Huangfu on Anduin, Secret as Asian Man, I guess, on Lunara, Dragon 478 on Johanna, and Chaos Tank on Thrall.
Can confirm Secret Asian Man is a reference to Paul and Storm, the comedic singing duo.
Okay then. There you go. I didn't know that.
Level 1 talents coming out. We have Mana Addict, the smart talent, coming out from Kael'thas. We have Perfect Storm, bit of an interesting choice, and Ossian Renewal, I think, is the other most interesting talent choice coming out from the side of Zul'jin Distillery. On the other hand, we have Laws of Hope. Never a fan to see that taken over trait at level 1. Echo the Elements, indicating that Thrall will in fact stay in the solo lane most of the game. Hippity Hop is a bit of a surprise pick. I almost never see that talent picked.
Especially
and we have
on a small
Bold
map like
Strategy
this
from Anduin and Q-Build coming out from Hanzo.
So
Ankle Shot take quite a bit of damage during the rotation in the top lane, but they do have the rotations coming out just a little bit faster than the enemy team.
I'm not sure. You know what? I think that if I'm Hanzo on this, I might have gone Redemption. I don't know. Redemption, taking the explosive arrows at 4 still allows you to get the the burst for the damage on the minions, but with Muradin and Leoric, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Alternatively, maybe you're not a Hanzo player.
I mean, that's fair. I've played him a fair amount. But I think that, especially with the movement speed changes, the auto attack heroes get a little bit of a benefit from that. And, on a, I don't know, I feel like he can get that value here. But that's okay. We'll see what happens between these teams. 10 stacks already for Thrall on Echo of the Elements. As we get a little bit of a skirmish.
A little bit of a scuffle down in the mid lane, but just kind of a lot of inconsequential damage coming out from both sides, onto both sides. No one's really in a threat of dying. Just a lot of heroes trying to get stacks.
And Living Bomb being spread between Anduin and Hanzo there. Sage having to use his healing well to keep things going.
Living Bomb onto a target that gets pulled in by Anduin's D is my favorite thing. Dragon gets brought down really low, and actually the Q coming out from Raynor, Bomb gets spread onto Anduin.
Well, actually, Anduin had the base bomb because he spread it to Hanzo when he died.
Oh, yeah, huh. Just stepping out a little bit too far, and Zul'jin Distillery able to punish just a very small overextension.
Yep. And 20 gems turned in here for the Zul'jin Distillery. Well on their way. They do have enough to turn in for the Web Weavers as well.
They're gonna need to buy some room for Nutcracker to get in on that, though, because he's got a very solid percentage of the gems that they have overall. And Chaos Tank has the means to interrupt him. He saw him rotate up there, but he's just maybe not aware enough, or didn't think that it was going to be happening that quickly. Not quite able to get the interrupt in time, and that's first Web Weaver going over to the side of Zul'jin Distillery.
And so they've got their lane pretty far pressed up here in the top lane, you know, pushing forward. Kael'thas going to the mid lane to keep that pressure as well. And now Johanna, Dragon, in a bit of trouble with that gravity lapse, gets the Living Bomb spread to Anduin after the Leap of Faith, but does ultimately survive.
We did see Hanzo actually had to Hearth. They were out of mana right as this objective was spawning, which adds a little bit more credence to your call for possibly an AA build because of the mana changes that he got maybe 2 or 3 months ago. He's not particularly good at spamming Q in the early game. Dragon gets brought down really low, but should be able to probably walk away with 19 health. Not quite. Be Fresh really aggressively postured, but just isn't getting punished.
And they have a wave. The dive in onto Lunara from Murden manages to finish off the deer from this map. So
that was a huge gravity lapse coming out from Dewit.
And we do see in the mid lane here the full wall, that pressure that Kael'thas opened up in the mid as the Web Weavers were coming out is going to allow them to get this. And Anduin, in a very bad place, might actually... Nah, he's gone.
We also saw Chaos Tank in the bottom lane basically just got completely pushed out by... Oh, that was close. Got completely pushed out of lane by Leoric, so... That was a lot of extra damage that got put onto the bottom lane as well, and all of that damage coming out onto Anduin, getting that kill, and all the damage that Chaos Tank took in lane gives free reign for Zul'jin Distillery to maybe take this cap.
It took him a long time.
But B-Fresh...
Go ahead.
B-Fresh goes down. It looks like they're still fighting over the point. Sage is really low, and another fantastic gravity lapse into Flame Strike is going to see the end over there. Not quite able to jump out of there in time. The camp does go over for the side of ProBUs. What is with these bloodbath games, Aero? Just so many hero deaths.
You know, and when they started that, Malfurion had about as much mana as he has now, and Malfurion's not the greatest healer for camps or bosses or what have you, because he can't use his Lunar Flare? No. Anyways, his Moonfire, there we go, to heal his team. And here's Leoric in a bit of trouble with all this damage, and he already used Wraithwalk, so he does manage to get away, but he's almost out of mana. But the point is that he had no mana to start with, so when they finally came in to take the fight, he had nothing left in the tank to deal with that.
And in taking all that damage, it means that Zul'jin Distillery has no means to try and actually push ProBUs out from getting their own turn in. And actually that mid camp is still very relevant. It's actually up and still pushing. The other mid camp is being taken from the side of Zul'jin Distillery, but ProBUs deciding that they're not going to want to try and take that fight at that time.
Root landing onto Murden. I'm not sure. It looked like he was mid-jump, so he may not have that Dwarf Toss now as well, but ultimately pushes the team back as the Web Weaver coming in the mid lane there. Nutcracker killing the Lunara Wisp.
And we have level 10s coming out from the side of Zul'jin Distillery. We've got the Phoenix, the Tranquility, Avatar, Entomb, and Raynor's Raider. All pretty standard picks, and timed actually kind of unfortunate. It means that this Web Weaver's not going to get a whole lot done. There goes out the Blessed Shield, completely whiffing the entire enemy team. We now have level 10s picked up on both teams. Why don't you go ahead and tell us the remaining 4 ults that we have for ProBUs?
Yeah, so we do have that Earthquake for Thrall. Also, Leaping Strike for Lunara, the Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo, and Light Bomb for the Anduin. Gonna give them a pretty significant CC chain if they can make that work between the Hanzo Arrow, the Light Bomb, and Blessed Shield.
I really like Light Bomb with Earthquake. You can really lock down a lot of people and get a huge stun, plus a lot of shielding off of that combination. Let's see if we get to actually have that come to fruition at some point.
So Leoric getting some push in the bot lane, and of course the mid lane also had the bruiser camp pushing, so it did get a little bit of damage onto that mid tower, the bottom of the 2, and we see a full rotation into the bot lane. And all
shot taking a lot of damage before this fight really breaks out in earnest, and is able to jump out of there. Malfurion's actually the one that gets caught out. They were trying to get ankle shot, but once that arrow hit, they very smartly pivoted down to get that Malfurion pick up instead. And I really like this call from the side of ProBUs, just backing away with the kill that they had. Anduin doesn't have the greatest ability to just bring a team back to full health, so they say, you know what, we got the kill, we got some positioning for it, let's back away with what we already have.
So the siege camp here, Hanzo's going to finish that up before it manages to take out the bottom fort. Leoric coming up, I guess, to check the boss. Just
there was a
hi.
Wisp there not too long ago as well from the other team. But as good as things are going for ProBUs right now, it's not a fantastic place for them overall. Sage is getting jumped on a little bit, is able to avoid the gravity lapse, and actually a huge gank coming in onto both Kael'thas and Malfurion, and they're both going to go down. The Light Bomb able to get a nice stun out on an ankle shot, but there is the counter kill onto Anduin.
Oh, and the
Dragon's Arrow just misses, but the flashlight with the Q is enough to take out Johanna, and then the deer falls in the background. I don't think we've had a team fight with less than 5 deaths yet this game.
Quite possibly. Yeah. It's been pretty brutal here. 16 total, 8 and 8. We now have both teams available to turn in for Web Weavers, as it looks like ProBUs is going to try to do that first here.
And if I'm not mistaken, both teams require 2 people to turn in, but it's the red team that's able to get that first. Thank you for not making me actually do the math on who needed to turn in to actually get that to happen. Appreciate you, ProBUs.
So Leoric up by himself up in the top lane. Let's see, did he have the Wraithwalk talent? He hasn't. No, he didn't. He went with the Spectral Leech at level 13. So no, I would have thought maybe that the damage reduction that he can provide would have been valuable into this team, especially with that Earthquake, Light Bomb setup. But
What do you think? Do they position for keep here? They do. I like this a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. If they're showing in the mid lane.
The mid Web Weaver has already been cleared up, but that means that the bottom Web Weaver, if they can just keep esportsing in the top lane long enough, is almost certainly going to get bottom fort.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's mostly inconsequential, I think. But it is value.
A lot of damage coming out onto Letistar, but that Tranquility is able to pop himself back up to pretty much full health. A huge 5-man arrow, but it was point-blank range, so not a very long stun. A lot of damage coming out onto Ankle Shot, and he goes down. Huge, another 4-person Light Bomb comes out. Nutcracker that gets brought down very low, is not able to run away. Chaos Tank comes in just for that extra Wind Fury smack. Dewhit trying to 2v1, not quite able to do it, but at least not trading his... Never mind, trading his life for it.
And almost gets the kill onto Chaos Tank, but double-digit health.
Hit points. 10.
Keeps him alive, yeah.
And they're going to make the boss call, and with 3 heroes dead for the enemy team, they can just kind of do this. Lyric's going to see it happening, and then is going to immediately skedaddle so he doesn't feed it again.
Indeed. So this is good value. Blue can certainly turn in at this point, and BeFresh is doing so. So they're going to get the Web Weavers to help them defend against this boss. So they might not actually lose this keep because of that. And Raynor does go ahead and get down there and get that bottom fort as well to equalize the pressure in the bot lane. And yeah, I think they're okay. ProBUs pulling back, they've got to deal with these web weavers. The mid lane is pressed up pretty far. You know, ultimately I think this is a win for them because it gives them the free clear of the web weavers, eliminates all those gems, and yeah, okay, your boss didn't get the keep, but you didn't lose anything from it either.
And ProBUs is going to be a lot closer to another turn in after this than the members of Zul'jin Distillery, which is also really important.
So
but
now
it looks like both teams just kind of gentlemen agreeing to just clear a lane on the opposite side of the map from each other and just kind of reset back to a fairly neutral position on the map. The top web weaver is still alive and they're still kind of pushing with it, but it's a little low on health and they just make the call to back off.
So the ProBUs pulls back, gets up there to deal with the web weaver before it gets to the fort. Zul'jin Distillery working on getting that XP. They're a little bit behind in XP. Kind of surprising, because they are ahead in structures overall, technically. So their trickle XP is a little bit more value. Now they're going to come down here, and it looks like they're going to try to grab this siege camp, as ProBUs is going to work on their bruiser camp here. Probably a little bit more value out of the siege camp than the bruiser camp, I think, just because of the fact that there's still a fort in the mid lane, but they're not looking to fight just at the moment, it looks like. All ultimates are available, though.
I would like to point out a couple of things. Level 1 target practice, the Q build from Hanzo, not done yet. Stormbolt quest, not done yet. There's a lot of potential power left in these heroes that they have not unlocked quite yet.
What else do we have out there? Anything else unlocked? Not done?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, Thunderstorm, but
yeah.
it's Thunderstorm. What do you expect?
Yeah. Good.
Turn-in
good
attempt coming out from ProBUs. Lots of damage coming out. Ooh, Anduin gets hit with the double flame strike. I don't think he makes it out of this one.
But the Aero coming in to slow things down at least. Nutcracker taking loads of damage is going to Wraith Walk out of there. Johanna gets the Gravity Lapse, but it's going to be Secret Asian Man jumping over Leoric and killing the Skeleton King. Root hitting Ankle Shot, but he's coming in trying to hit that Stormbolt onto Dragon to finish the job, but not able to make the connection there as Lunari gets caught with the Living Bomb. And now the chase begins.
Asian Man making the cardinal mistake of jumping into the second Flame Strike from that Fury of the Sunwell. Dragon is going to be able to make it out of there. Hanzo doing some fancy things with Shamana Privileges to try and get himself out of there, and it looks like he does.
Bfresh trying to cut him off, maybe. Does get there, but he does get that hop over the wall, so he's safe at this point. Seeing those hammers flying around from Johanna, getting some damage in onto the team, some AoE damage. Thunderstorm is completed by Thrall, so and that's a pretty significant boost in damage and slowing potential.
Also, target practice just finished now here at the almost 16-minute mark. That's an additional 100 damage for every Stormbolt. That's really going to be significant, especially now that he's got piercing arrows. A lot of damage coming out onto Bfresh, but unfortunately the Dragon's Arrow Whip, that would have almost certainly been a kill otherwise. Damage coming out onto Ankle Shot, a really big Entomb coming out onto both Hanzo and Thrall. Hanzo goes down immediately, but Leoric is killed almost immediately thereafter, and Chaos Tank was on the wrong side of Ankle Shot for just a minute. Living Bomb is going to take him out. That's a lot of gems that Hong Fu is going to look to try and pick up in his place. Secret Asian Man trying to run away and just do all the kiting and slowing damage that they possibly can. Bfresh is pretty low, gets chunked very hard. Malfurion gets the Q on him, got to throw out a couple of Moonfires because Regrowth does not heal as fast as Lunara's damages. But he is able to make up the difference in that hit points enough to get away. Only 52 gems coming out from the side of Zul'jin Distillery. They'll need to pick up a couple more if they want to get their third turn in. But for the moment, just dumping in what they can and making sure that their top lane doesn't go down to anything funny. Although, with all of them just turning in and walking away, this gives free opportunity for the side of... I have forgotten names. ProBUs to get their turn in.
So this is interesting. So they don't have Thrall just yet. Level 20s are not there. I think if I was ProBUs, I probably would have waited until 20s to get this turn, because it wasn't an immediate concern that Zul'jin Distillery was going to get a turn. They didn't have enough gems. I think that it would have been better for them to soak and get that 20, maybe even get some damage onto the mid lane first and then push it.
Forget the mid lane. I would have liked to have seen them do what they did just now and clear out bottom lane twice and have this Web Weaver instead push up onto the keep wall instead of spawning back all the way at their keep.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned about the mid was just because of the fact that, pushing deep into the bot lane, without having the potential for vision through the mid could have put them at risk. But now we've got 2 Web Weavers cleared. The bot lane is the only one left. And Johanna, I guess, either didn't have Indestructible or didn't take it.
Did not take it. Took the increased R strikes. A lot of damage coming out. Hong Fu using the Lightwell to try and just keep themselves up. And using the Earthquake as a disengage. A lot of ults coming out just to try and keep the rest of the team alive, which, to be fair, they do. And it's all of the ults actually popped on pretty much both teams. The only thing that's up is Leaping Strike and Blessed Shield, but you can't Blessed Shield from the Hall of the Storms.
No, you can't. And Leonara coming up here to make sure that she finishes off this top keep, and then probably
I think those R's were mistakes. She could have hearthed. I don't think she gets out anymore.
Oh, she's toast. Yeah, definitely. Walks right into the enemy team.
I think just, finish up the auto attack stacks, get all that damage on there, and just start hearthing in lane, I think was her best case scenario.
What? Now, this is game for Zul'jin Distillery. They get this boss, they go turn in those 13 coins, and,
they clear out top
that's
lanes,
it.
Spawns in really far. It's going to be, if nothing else, a really tough hold.
And you don't have Lunara and really, Nature's Calling being the bee's knees of killing the boss, which she did take, I think. Yeah, she did.
Did not take 3 stacks, deals more damage on 20, though. Went for the Galloping Gate instead, which is a bit of a shocker.
Which, again, she also used to get to the keep, as opposed to using it to get away. So I feel like that was probably the other questionable decision there. Web Weaver's coming in with the boss. Boss is already at about half health, but down goes the well. The fort following shortly after. Oh, look at this jump from Muradin. Manages to get onto the Hanzo. Unable to jump away, but Lior throwing up the Entomb. And,
all right, now I think it's game.
Yeah.
I think that Hanzo kill is probably going to be the thing that actually does it for the side of Zul'jin Distillery. A really big Earthquake comes out, hits basically the entire enemy team, but even if you get a full wipe here, I think that there might just be enough damage. A lot of damage coming out onto the backline from that humongous Blessed Shield. Actually wipes basically the entire team. Boss and Web Weavers go down. Ankle Shot is just wailing away that extra perfect storm damage with the rewind. Gonna be the thing that I think actually lets this damage go through. You got 4 kills, but unfortunately Muradin was still there to just finish out game number 1 for the side of Zul'jin Distillery.
All right, gonna pop up the stats and the talents here for just a brief moment so that everybody can see them on stream. I'm not gonna do it for very long though, so you can pause it later if you want to check them out. So, Ektar, any talents there? Anything that you want to talk about while I flip out to the next game and get things set up?
So I play kind of a lot of Anduin, and I was originally a big fan of Power Word Shield, but kind of became disenchanted with it over time. I really like taking the... I have no idea what it's called. The passive that gives you health back when you take a sufficient amount of damage. You don't need to take a lot of damage, and it heals for 15% of your health on like a really short cooldown. Speed of the Pious is fine. Inner Focus, I think, is not phenomenal. I think it's pretty good, but Lightwell is fantastic, especially once you go Varian's Legacy on 20. And he did, in fact, go Varian's Legacy. I would have really liked to have seen Lightwell taken on 16.
Looks like we did get a change in the team slightly here, as Cowboy Kyle joined in. So let's see. Is
that on the side of Zul'jin Distillery?
It is. And it looks like he replaced Nutcracker. Alright, so that one's done. Let's see the other side. So what's going on in the realm of the Nexus Gaming Series while I'm flipping this around? Anything cool and exciting coming up? Or anything you want to remind people of?
Get your flex games scheduled.
That's what I was looking for.
In particular, I'm looking at you, D East. You're doing better than D West as far as numbers, but they only have 5 total flex games. You all have 3 each. Unless you were originally supposed to play against 4 Ruthers and an Alex. And if anyone in a non-D division is also watching, get your flex game scheduled as well. Your mods harp on it all the time, but that's just because last season we had a whole bunch of flex games getting played in the last week because teams didn't schedule it in advance, so...
Oh.
I appreciate you, 8-Bit. I appreciate you.
All right, looks like we are set up for game number 2. It's going to be on Volskaya Foundry. Let's get this show on the road. So you can now see the teams here. So anything that you see on the overall draft that excites you or concerns you?
I see a Kelthu freaking Zod. That excites me.
Indeed.
And a relatively standard comp coming out from the side of Zul'jin Distillery. We have Gul'dan being played by D. Whit, Leoric played by Cowboy Kyle, ETC by Ankleshot, Tychus by Bfresh, and Stukov by Led a Star.
And for ProBUs, we've got Secret Asian Man on Kel'Thuzad, Aruba on Raynor, Dragon going to be playing Johanna again, Hung Fu on Anduin as well again, and Sage on Imperius.
Kelthu freaking Zod's a very polarizing kind of hero. He's one of those... He's a very weak early game hero, and I think he's strongest in kind of the mid game. Once you get those the faster you get those stacks, the stronger he is relative to all of the other heroes in the game, and it sort of then kinds to drop off after if the game goes extremely late. Similar, I think, actually to Asmodan. So we'll see how that ProBUs is going to be able to use that mid game power spike to their advantage. Already a lot of stacks coming out, though. Really well done from Secret Asian Man.
Yeah, and they do have some pretty solid setup for that. I mean, they've got the root from Anduin, they've got Johanna to set up with Blessed Shield and Condemn, ultimately even Imperius with the Celestial Charge. So, you know, I think there's a lot of value out of this Kel'Thuzad pick, especially into control points where they have to be in very tight quarters.
And I like Leo on this map. He's really good in the solo lane. I think he's good against Imperius if he lands the spooky hand, which he in fact just missed. But he's also really good against the Triglav.
Yep. Because it, once again, counts as a hero when there's a player in it. So we've got both of the teams coming in here to get the fortification camps pretty early on here. So those will be up about 30-40 seconds after they start the fight over the control point.
I do kind of like that Dehwit opted to stay in the top lane just to make sure that they didn't miss any minion XP at all. And it'll only be 1 minion missed for the side of ProBUs, but you know, if that minion is the thing giving you a 5-second advantage on a talent tier, that can be pretty significant.
Absolutely. So ETC coming in here, power sliding deep into the enemy team, probably in a little bit of trouble here as Dragon zoning out the rest of his team. Ankleshot getting just melted by Aruba. But is able
How
to
did
ultimately get out.
Ankleshot thread the needle on all of that CC coming at him? Any CC hit lands on him after that power slide, he's dead. But he just managed to dance around everything. Really well done from him.
So bot lane being pushed into Leoric a little bit here as level 4 is picked up for both teams. Once again, that Laws of Hope that gives that healing instead of the cooldown reduction on Iron Skin.
Aero, do you play much Stukov?
You know what? No, not really.
Yeah, me either, but I have never picked reactive ballista spores, and I haven't picked biotic armor since like the first week he came out, so it's really interesting to see them coming out from this side. In particular, that biotic armor, because Jimmy, he is a lot of physical damage, but I don't think Jimmy's going to be the one that is going to be killing you in this game. There's a
Yeah.
Celtic freaking Zod.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I don't know what the other picks are, but you're right. It's not something you see very often. So maybe there were other options that could have been better. I was going to say, it looks like maybe they're going to go for that support camp, but they're kind of bouncing around. Gul'dan's going to go ahead and head up and get the pressure going in top lane.
I find it really interesting that Zul'jin is just allowing this channel to happen. They have the stronger early game team. No matter what way you want to slice it, Kel'Thuzad is not a hero until at least 15 stacks. Or is it 20 stacks even?
30.
It is 15.
15 for, yeah, 15 for the spike.
15 is when he starts to become a hero.
So, no Imperius here, 4v5 as Zul'jin Distillery coming in, ankle shot, trying to make something happen there, but Stukov is going to get caught by the chain, pulling him out of the silence. So 62% for ProBUs. Turret down for Zul'jin Distillery, so do we still have one? Yeah, we do. So Aruba's still got the one for ProBUs, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and come down and pick up yet another one.
It is worth mentioning that both teams took their camp, but the siege camp for ProBUs actually won in the top lane. So the longer this fight goes, the better it's going to be for them in regards to top lane. They're all also now even on items, although in a couple of seconds here, the turret's going to drop from Zul'jin Distillery, and ProBUs is now up in items. Huge charge coming out from Sage into a really big root coming out from Celtic freaking Zod. Puts out tons of damage onto Bfresh, but he's able to get out safely. Secret Asian Man also able to walk out safely, but there goes the turret taking down Dewhit. Cowboy Kyle stepping in there, he gets the Wraith Walk. He is not quite able to walk out. The flashlight and the Jimmy auto attack is enough damage to get him taken out, and that's actually going to be the channel and almost certainly the objective going in favor of ProBUs.
Yeah, it looks really strong for them at this point, and Kel'Thuzad's sitting at 17 stacks, so he does have the Glacial Spike.
He also
Allows
went
him- Go ahead.
Glacial Spike on 7.
Yeah, so that reduced cooldown, really helpful. And here we go.
Ankle shot
overtime.
steps up, but I think, yeah, his life is forfeit for an additional, 10 seconds left on this objective. Bfresh stepped up as well, way too far. He gets taken out. And that is 2 deaths for not stopping ProBUs from getting the objective.
And not only that, but you don't want Tychus dead when the or the Protector's coming out. I mean, his percent damage can provide. It's not certainly not doing percent of health, total health, but it does, because it does cap out. But it still provides extra damage onto this
And
Punisher.
Cowboy Kyle is in the bottom lane, so his percent damage is also not going to be taking out this Triglav. And as you can see, they get the front wall, and it's still really healthy as it heads into the top lane.
Yeah, and they don't have a minion wave here to protect them from the damage from the wall.
Dragon and Aruba, however, they go to rectify that problem, and this is a scary push coming out. I think this almost guaranteed gets the well. That's level 10s coming out from the side of ProBUs. Unfortunately, they missed the hand. It goes out onto the well instead of onto the fort, but does not matter. And it looks like they're just content to poke, see if anything happens. If they can make something happen, great, but they're really posturing like they just want to do a little bit of damage and then walk away safe.
Well, and they did bring up Secret Asian Man, so they have all 5 here to Oh, and that was questionable as Anduin gets obliterated. The Punisher going in with the punch. Tychus, though, getting loads of damage onto Dragon, is going to get the kill there as well. And now they're chasing down Sage, so that last punch coming out from the Protector ultimately providing 0 value to their team and giving loads of value over to Zul'jin Distillery, giving them those 2 kills.
Yeah, so a lot of damage was done from the side of ProBUs, but it was pretty much all wiped out with those 2 kills going down. And it also, in fact, turns over a biotic emitter to their enemies.
So I'd like to see Zul'jin Distillery kind of get some counter pressure in that top lane, as right now they're all on the fortification camp, but no people dead at this point. Phylactery completed for Kel'Thuzad, so he'll be able to come back when he dies, or if he dies, I suppose, and gets that healing. Tychus pulling back. So
Now that both
they didn't
teams are
really
actually level
capitalize
10,
much.
we can talk about ults just a little bit. We've got Blessed Shield, Shadow Fissure. Hyperion in this game instead of the Raider. we have Angelic Armaments, which is the only good ult for Imperius, and once again, Light Bomb coming out from Anduin.
Yeah, and we do see the questionable stage dive out of ETC. I don't know about that stage dive. It's a thing, but I don't mean questionable from the perspective of against this team. I'm just saying I don't like it.
So Angelic Armaments is the only good ult, but using it just in the bottom lane while you're fighting a Leoric over just minions, not how you typically want to use that ability.
Yeah, it's a relatively short cooldown, but yeah, if you get a kill out of it, then sure. But if you don't, then why? I don't know.
Because you can, I guess.
Yeah. We also have the Horrify, Entomb, Odin, and Flailing Swipe. So a whole lot of ways to counter that Entomb from his own team.
If you position Horrify in the correct direction, it still works well.
Absolutely. And once again, in the bot lane here between Sage and Cowboy Kyle, Sage is a little bit behind on the health here. Does get the charge in onto Cowboy Kyle, so now that he's got that Molten Armor up, Cowboy Kyle could be in a little bit of danger. And does go down with the last hit.
In before lolcasters watching the solo lane fight.
Hey, you know what? We got the kill, and that is uncommon watching. Like, you don't often get to see the solo lane activity, so I'm telling you what, Sage, if you're out there, buddy, I got your back.
Just a couple more seconds until the control point spawn. No significant advantage from either team. Both teams at the same level. There's a camp pushing in the top lane, but top lane's where everybody is defending. Although it does look like ProBUs is going to give up the initial fight so that they can get an extra fortification camp. I think they're already up a fortification camp. No, I guess they're even.
Yeah, they have one. Let Aster
they're going to pick up another.
Has the bio, so that'll give them 2-2, but the power slide in onto Johanna, knocking her back. Silence coming out. They might get the kill. Blessed Shield going out just to stall things, and that's amazing for Sul'jin Distillery. That puts them up on this point. But ProBUs looking to take now the other turret camp, so they'll have 3 turrets available when they actually do get in on this fight.
I'd like to see them say, screw this fight, just drop turrets and take bottom fort.
I would agree with you on that.
That's not going to be the call that's coming out. They're rotating up through mid lane. It looks like there's not a consensus on whether or not they're taking that mid camp. Dewhit wants it. Leda Star wants it. Bfresh, do you want that camp? He does want that camp. All right. This does give time for a lot of damage to potentially go out onto the Triglav before a gunner gets inside of it.
There's the Horrified Johanna on the far side, but is going to be able to make it out the power slide, or the ETC stage dive in rather, into the back line, right at the line by the fort though. So can't really go too deep onto it. So no kills so far.
That would have been a really juicy mosh pit if he had one.
Indeed. Indeed,
but
it would have.
Triglav, it got chunked really hard before anything happened, and actually there goes the counter kill onto ETC, who was really overextended behind that fort. Let's see if they can do anything else with this. Kel'Thuzad also just now finishing Master of the Cold Dark, so he is now a very threatening force.
Indeed, so stage dive being called out that they've got it in 25 seconds. I'm not sure where he's thinking he might go with it, but maybe just letting everybody know. Leoric and Sage in the bot lane again, so keep an eye on them.
Keeping an eye on you. But once again, we've got the mid-game Volskaya pause. A little bit of a gank coming out over on the side of ProBUs, so they're going to...
Oh, that could be a dead Gul'dan.
That is a dead Gul'dan, question mark, but Secret Asian Man is going to get slid as well. That should have been 2 kills, and I'll tell you why. Dragon death rattled out their Blessed Shield to try and stay alive, so it was still on cooldown. Wasn't able to get Bfresh there. If they'd have had that Blessed Shield, that would have been a dead Bfresh as well.
Yep.
So don't death rattle out your ultimates unless your death timer is longer than your cooldown, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's something that I remember, like early HGC days. They were talking about, Zeratul Void Prison being a 2-minute cooldown, and Zeratul's throwing it out to save their life and ultimately not being able to. And, you know, having the presence of mind to make sure that you're using your ultimates when they're actually going to be effective, not just throwing it out on a prayer and hoping. And I think that's kind of what happened with Johanna, was that maybe she was thinking, if I throw this out, I can maybe get my Iron Skin, maybe get across the wall.
She would have been more likely to have Iron Skin if she took D at level 1.
You think?
A smart rotation coming out from the side of ProBUs. Looks like they're gonna pick up that top fort for basically no cost. Dragon jumps in. ETC has managed to get back into Hero Stage Dive. The counter shield coming out from Johanna. Beefresh steps out really far. Letastar is going to do a really good job of trying to peel for his team, but there goes the kill out once again onto Dihwit. I gotta say, is it Hongfu?
I don't know. Hongfu?
Yeah,
Hongfu?
I'm gonna keep saying Hongfu. Hongfu with these light bombs has been just really securing kills this game.
And that's going to give them the support camp now. They've got that top fort down. It's the only structure down in this game. I wonder how long this game is. This could be a long game.
I don't know about you, but I turn off the game time as soon as the game loads, so I'm not too spoiled on it.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see that, but at the beginning when you're setting up the watch, it tells you exactly the game time. So yeah, and usually I casually glance at it just because I'm looking at the names, but I don't think I did on this one. So
all of that good intelligent esportsing that happened in the top lane gave Cowboy Kyle an initial-ish 20% that they can get onto the objective. May or may not matter, but there was not much else he could have been doing on the map at the time, so just getting that free 25% is sometimes not insignificant. We do see ETC split pushing in the top lane, trying to get them just a little bit of an XP lead, let his team rotate down, and he does have that global so he can get down to join the team fight whenever they decide it's going to happen.
And you remember way back in the beginning when that first protector died and I said, hey, they got these 2 kills. If they just push in the top lane, they get value. I think that top fort goes down if they would have done that. But that's a long time ago. Here's the Entomb, but Cowboy Kyle destroyed. ETC gets the stage dive in onto Secret Asian Man, gets the stun and does take him out. Kel'Thuzad's going to be back in just a moment. His turrets are ripping through Zildjian Distillery. Ledaster hitting the whatever the hell that's called. ETC's going to go down. Conveyor belts are moving everybody. Thank you.
Flailing swipe is the thing.
The pitch slap.
That was a messy team fight. I really like Secret Asian Man deciding to pop Phylactery now. Having an additional just body during this push is going to put a lot more damage out. Plus,
oh yeah, for sure.
That's a ton of additional kill pressure coming out from Kelta freaking Zod that they would not have had otherwise.
KTFZ, my friends.
Is this a child-friendly stream? Should I stop saying freaking?
I don't think I have it set to the adult stream, but I think that we're okay. We haven't actually dropped a single F-bomb today. I don't think. Oh, and Tomb into the back there is going to isolate Johanna, but Tychus is going to be the kill.
Doesn't the Triglav just walk through that?
It does, but Johanna can't.
Yeah, and unfortunately that is going to be the kill going out onto Tychus. Stukov just coming up back now. That's a 30-ish% health. I should just look at the number on the side. Protector coming out into the core, but he actually is looking for blood. He's not looking for buildings.
Yeah,
Secret Asian Man gets the combo onto ankle shot, but that's a lot of damage now coming out onto the core. I think that was a little bit early on that Horrify. Still 2 people in the Triglav. Big damage coming out from the light bomb. But it looks like, unless they can get another kill, ProBUs is just going to have to back off.
And oh my goodness, that was such a misplay. They had no Tychus on the other side. I think that if the Triglav focuses on the core, they win there. Also, for what it's worth, I think Secret Asian Man took the wrong 20. I think that if he took the extra, I don't remember the name of the talent, but the one that gives you the little Death and Decay minion, if he took that, his siege potential is disgusting. And that double Death and Decay on the core, along with an extra couple of punches, I think wins them the game.
Interesting change from the previous game. Imperious took Impervious. That's the only time you're going to get me to say those 2 words in the same sentence, because I think you know why.
Shade of Naxxramas, thank you.
Jimmy with the execute. Basic attack damage increased against targets below 50% health. So if they got 6% more on that core, then Jimmy could start executing it.
And that 6% is one Triglav hit, or the extra damage coming out from one additional death and decay. So,
yeah, definitely.
Seriously, I think they lost. No, I think they missed an opportunity to win the game. I don't think they lost the game there. I mean, they're still in very good position in this game.
And then over from the side of Zul'jin Distillery, we have Haunt, we have Buried Alive, whatever the upgrade to Stage Dive is called, Sizzling Attacks, and Controlled Chaos. So pretty standard picks coming out from the side of Zul'jin Distillery. I might have wanted to see Death Metal, though.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they've had enough deaths on that side. And you can play hyper-aggressively then as ETC and not necessarily worry as much about dying. You know, we've seen that even earlier today. There was a really high potential for a full 4 or 5 man team death metal, but he hadn't even selected it yet. I imagine he was probably thinking he had, and it would have ended the game in the other direction if they had.
Small shout out to Dragon just there using the flashlight to just check that bush, make sure they weren't getting rotated on. This was a really smart play, positioning aggressively like this with that camp, because they also have catapults building up in the bottom lane. They're just putting additional map pressure on and forcing Zul'jin Distillery to respond on different sides of the map at the same time, which buys them time to now get on the objective first. And look at that, you've got a 3 catapult wave just barreling down bottom lane. That's going to get the core if no one goes back for it.
And even if they do, then they're going to be able to get the control point, or at least have a 5v4 advantage. Aruba taking a lot of damage. Light Bomb, I think, went out. Why don't you pick it up?
Huge damage coming out onto Cowboy Kyle. He goes down. And actually, Jimmy getting the 1v2 there. Huge damage coming out from him. B-Fresh goes down as well. Let Us Star and Ankle Shot, the only people left. We now have a 4th catapult that's joining. You don't even need any heroes left. These 4 catapults end the game.
And it looks like that is going to be the case here as ETC is trying to back away. And now, ProBUs heading off to get to the core and finish the game and send us to a game 3. One of 2 matches today that's going to a game 3.
Shout out to the MVP catapults pushing through the bottom lane. And I just want to point out again, that whole situation with the catapults was just because ProBUs positioned aggressively in the top lane, forced Zul'jin Distillery to respond there and not to the catapults building up in bottom lane. Smart plays.
Indeed. All right, so once again, just showing the stats and talents here for a brief moment. And anything you want to talk about from the list there?
Everything I said about Anduin in Game 1 applies in Game 2. And then looking at the rest of the team, Tychus went Master Assassin on 4. I never see that talent taken. I almost always see Into the Rhythm, and my assistant captain swears by the bigger they are. I'd never see Master Assassin, though.
So I've definitely taken Master Assassin. Oh, geez. I'm just looking at the next team. This is going to be an interesting game. But anyways, I've definitely taken Master Assassin. Getting that extra auto attack speed can be really, really brutal for Odin, especially. But if you take
it applies to Odin form?
yeah, because it's just his auto attacks.
I'm a little bit surprised because it gives him a different auto attack. I'm a little surprised that the talent affects it, but that's good to know.
Yeah, because it just increases his auto attack speed.
Things I intend to test in try mode when this cast is over.
Just putting in the names here real quick.
Do we still have Cowboy Kyle playing this game?
We do. Just also had to let my team know that I was going to be late. Getting a little bit of flack for that one. Hey guys, your tank's not going to be there. My bad. A little bit aggressive on the... Well, Mongoose is blue. I'm on Phoenix.
Oh, I'm sorry. So not Jason either then.
Nope. Not
Too many
Jason
regions.
wants me doing this as headcaster.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. So we do have a change on the other side. We no longer have Aruba. Instead, we got Chaos Tank back.
Welcome back, Chaos Tank.
Alright, is that right? So Sage, Hunfu,
So 8-bit output.
Yes.
See you in the chat there. What is your input, if you don't mind my asking?
If I've got it correct, 8-bit output is Dragon, based on his name in Discord, I think. He's talking about your name, 8-bit.
Yeah.
All right. Looks okay. We got everything set up, so let's get into game number 3. Game number 3 is going to be on Sky Temple, and take a look at this team comp when you get into this. I have no idea which team wins this.
I don't get to see until the game loads, but
It's popping up right now for you.
get excited, Twitch chat.
Here we go.
Ooh, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
So no Lost Vikings for you tonight, but we do get a little bit of Juke Pirates.
Oof. I would love to know what the bans were on both sides.
You know, I can actually tell you.
While you're looking at that, I suppose I should probably start introducing the teams. Spawning in on the left-hand side, we have DWhip playing Material, Letastar playing Mama Morales, Cowboy Kyle playing Nubarak, Ankleshot playing Jaina, and Bfresh playing Raynor. They are Zul'jin Distillery.
Why don't you go ahead and do the other one too, since I'm looking this up.
And spawning in on the right-hand side, we have Dragon478 playing Arthas, Secret Asian Man playing Lunara, Chaos Tank playing Dahaka, Sage playing Mephisto, and Hongfu playing the Stukov. And they are the other team whose name I'm forgetting again.
ProBUs.
ProBUs.
So right away we
We
see...
got Juice Pirates.
Yeah, Juice Pirates heading the bot lane. So the bans here, just as an FYI, ProBUs banned out Kael'thas, Johanna, and Ana. Zul'jin Distillery banned out Anduin, Diablo, and ETC. So we do see the rotation down here. Dahaka coming in first, of course, with his Brush Stalker. They don't quite get that tower all the way down yet, and it's going to be Jaina getting caught. Probably gets killed.
You know what? It's still actually worth it, though, just
Yeah.
because they're going to miss all of top lane XP, and that's worth more than a hero kill at level 1.
Absolutely, for sure. Although they might get... okay, they are going to get DWhip out of there. And, you know, the thing about the Juice Pirates comp is that they don't necessarily care about those deaths that much. As long as they can get to level 10, that's fine.
I'm disappointed at this gank attempt. If Dragon would have rotated around the left-hand side, along with Lunara, that could have been at least a lot of damage, if not a kill coming out onto Jimmy Raynor. And if you can keep your opponent from ults off longer, that's always a winning play, but especially with Juice Pirates.
So we've got soak happening in the mid thanks to Tyrael, and Jaina and Morales going to come down here and try to get the siege camp as Lunara doing the same on the opposite side. Beetle Boy in the bot lane with Chaos Tank. Pretty sure that Chaos Tank overall wins that, but again, they're not that worried about it. But rotating down are Jaina and Morales.
This is not going to be Chaos Tank going down, but it is going to be him popping Essence, which is pretty good when you're going up against a mediocre solo laner like a Nubarak is.
So Juice Pirates is the comp that we've got here. It's basically a Tyrael Morales where you take Medivac and you use that Medivac to get your entire team in to destroy a fort or a keep and push down a single lane, ultimately probably dying in the process. You don't necessarily care about that because you're just waiting for that Medivac to come back up.
And the reason that Tyrael is so important is because you get that sanctification, and it becomes really hard for anyone to deal with.
So thank you to Silvara for the 11 bits. Much appreciated, my friend.
So the reason I ask about what the bans were is because the two best counters to Juice Pirates are Falstad and Zeratul. Probably Zeratul first. You, and I'm not joking with this, you void your own buildings.
Yep. The stasis prevents that damage, the Tyrael sanctification goes away, and then you just murder the team.
And Falstad, very similarly, once sanctification goes down, if you still have a building there, hopefully, you just gust the enemy team off so they can't finish the job. And this is actually a really good map to do Juice Pirates on, because the objective, you often end up just trading them, and that gives you lanes that are already injured, so you can Juice Pirates further and further into your enemy team.
So, a Nubrak in the bottom here, because the other value here is they want to get to 10 as quickly as they possibly can. They want to get that Morales value out of Medevac. So, doing exactly what they need to do, making sure that they're soaking in all 3 lanes, getting the damage in addition onto this top fort may even be enough to take that top fort out. Oh, so close. How much does that have? 160.
I would like to see them escort a Blizzard over to that. Not even you could escort a Frostbolt onto that. Come on now. Throw a sword at it, DeWitt.
Not gonna happen. They are gonna go back and get that soak.
Actually kill.
I'm sure we'll
But
see it
it's
soon.
looking very likely that top lane is going to be the lane that they're going to try to do their shenaniganry in. You want to try, because it's not just about getting a fort or a keep. It's about winning the game, of course. And if you can get onto their core with a keep dead and sanctification up, with as much race as they have on the side of the Zul'jin Distillery, it's going to be really hard for them to actually deal with. Because there's really no counter or interrupts on the side of ProBUs, so...
Yep.
It looks really well drafted. I don't think they knew what was hitting them until it was too late.
If I had to guess, they probably picked Anubarak, Jaina, and Raynor at the beginning of this. Let's see. The map pick was from ProBUs, so first pick was for Zul'jin Distillery. So yeah, so they would have had 3 heroes at the beginning, and then they could pick up that Tyrael and Morales at the tail end of that draft. So there would have only been 1 character left available for them to try to counter.
And yeah, we obviously don't know how exactly the draft went down right now, but if they still needed to pick up a healer or a tank, they couldn't have flexed into either that Zeratul or Falstad.
And I wonder if maybe if their healer was last, and maybe that was the Stukov, and that was their attempt to slow things down by popping down a silence to maybe prevent the sanctification.
Yeah, that's a solid guess.
And at this point, level 10's coming online very soon. I fully expect them to just say, you know what, soak it and get out of here. There's no reason for them to fight over this.
Yeah, I actually don't like this fight.
Yeah.
If you lose either Morales or Tyrael, then your whole strategy is to... What the heck is this?
So, Stim Drone.
Stim.
Okay.
I feel like I know things about this game, and then I watch Div D play, and I'm pretty convinced otherwise.
I don't understand. What's going on? How do they not?
I don't understand.
Jaina has...
So we've got the Sanctification, the Stim Drone, the Cocoon, Ring of Frost, and the Raider. Huge damage coming out onto the side of ProBUs. There goes the Leaping Strike out onto Jaina, manages to take her down. And I feel like the whole world is a lie, Aero.
You know what? I want Zul'jin Distillery to lose this now. I don't like... Oh, interrupt onto the Mephisto consuming souls. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's a full 2-minute cooldown that got exactly 0 value. The stun hits all 4. Look at that impale, though. Hits everybody that's even remotely nearby. Stukov coming in trying to get some healing onto his team as the health bars are just going down on the side of Zul'jin Distillery.
Mephisto getting a lot of value in that team fight. It was very clumped up, a lot of time for him to get that cooldown reduction, and they are going to take this second objective for the most part.
Wow. Let's see. So, do you remember after didn't want to spoil this Juice Pirate thing? That was a panic talent from Ankle Shot. So, Ankle Shot is who? Jaina, isn't it?
No, it was... Ankle Shot is saying that it was a panic and that Lena Star called it out as soon as it happened. So they were planning to do Juice Pirates. We were not wrong. It was just a bit of a massive execution error on the part of Momo Morales. But let's see if they can make the best of it. They still have... It's not a bad comp, even if you're not Juice Pirates. They still have an Anubarak who's phenomenal. You have Sanctification, which is one of the best defensive ults in the game. You've got Jaina and Jimmy. Like, Morales isn't your ideal tank, but Raynor is pretty much an ideal stim target.
Yeah, so and they do have, you know, between the Tyrael and Anubarak, they've got so much potential front line. They've got the slows from both Anubarak and Jaina, and even really Tyrael as well. They do get the potential for that Smite auto attack as well. Did he take that? Yeah, he did at level 7. So the invade coming in here, though, as Morales in danger from Lunara gets slowed, silenced, rooted, and a free trip to the graveyard as Consumed Souls goes out as well, but gets interrupted. It
went out. Consumed Souls actually finished channeling this time. It just didn't kill anybody. What did Mephisto go on 1? I need to look. Okay, he went Malicious Intent. That... Usually broadcast, you're going to go Consume Souls. Dehuit really going in on the enemy team. Actually using Eldritch Smite to get further in instead of getting himself out, but he's got that Smite. Looks like he's probably going to be able to walk away with a little bit of peeling from Cowboy Kyle. Never mind, Cowboy Kyle misses the peeling. Dehuit's just able to get himself out.
Yeah, he got the slow from his Impale, leaving the spike strip down on the ground there, so that at least helped out a little bit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Jaina had to Hearth before this objective, which means that maybe... No, the camp does not get this bottom fort, which is unfortunate, but Lunara's going to get it. Right?
Nope.
No. Never mind. I think I know things about this game.
Predictions don't matter, but now it's a 4v3 in the bot lane. Could essentially be a 3v3 with the Cocoon, but they're just going to go ahead and burrow out. Jaina showing up, Morales is here, so... But now we've got a Brush Stalker down, so 5v4. They're not going to look to invade at this point or even try to stay on this point. Instead, they're going to get on the siege camp, and here comes ProBUs. They recognize this is probably their direction.
However, Stukov is actually not in this fight. He was the one that stayed on the point. Really big Sanctification coming up, blocking a ton of damage. Still on the point, really messy. Dragon is maybe going to be the first to go down. He does, but immediately followed up by Arthas, and then 2 more heroes follow him to the grave shortly thereafter. Tyrael trying to get that trait value only comes out into Hong Fu. Ankle Shot gets taken down as well. That is a 4-for-1 in the favor of ProBUs. And they get to finish off the bottom objective.
And they get the boss first. Yeah, absolutely. Boss is definitely the better call here. You've got plenty of time, and then you can scoot down while they have to defend this. And it's only a Raynor on the other side, so I would like to see the Wisp out, just as a
I would also like to see the members, at least the ranged ones, standing over on the right-hand side, the further away from the enemy side.
Yeah, the reason why they're there is to bait out that tornado, though. So that if an enemy does try to come in, they have to make it through that tornado. So I'm actually okay with that in general.
It was literally only Raynor alive.
Yeah, but it's a good practice to be used to, right?
We see the hard invade coming out onto the Bruiser camp as well, and the objective is actually going to take out that top fort before the camp is finished being taken, so... Camp is going to go on to keep wall. It probably won't get a ton of value because there is a minion wave that's going to meet it there. But it's the opportunity gone for the enemy team to take it.
And the whole team is up top, except for the Lunara. Even Dahaka could get up there if he wanted to just leave this Tyrael here to get additional value in that top lane, which, at least right now, doesn't look like that's what he's going to do.
Dehuit is not winning this fight, even though Chaos Tank has effectively no mana left in his bar. Big damage coming out on his Stukov takes him down. There goes the Web Wrap out. Combo with the Ring of Frost from Ankle Shot, and that's going to be Mephisto going down, and Dragon is on the wrong side of the blue team as well. So yeah, that was just it was a good play that they committed to for a little bit too long and gave up 3 additional members of the team for it.
Yeah, I think if they were gonna do that, I think they really needed to call up Dahaka, bring Lunara straight over, get the value, but instead it looks like now Zildjian Distillery is going to get the opportunity to do pretty much exactly the same thing with all 5. Take a look at those talents.
This is now 3 games in a row. It's at least 3 games total where we're seeing the auto attack build from Jaina. But we are seeing the increased Blizzard size, at least this time. Previously, it was mostly Frost Armor, which I don't think was an especially good talent pick in the games that we saw it, but Stormfront is a little bit of a nicer talent.
Yeah, and I think that if they were level 13 with the Juice Pirates, then you take Icy Veins, because you want that big burst of damage. But at this point,
100%.
just trying to play, farther. I don't know. The increased Blizzard range, I feel like that's still kind of, in a way, counter-synergizes with that level 7, because if you're trying to get that extra range and radius, you don't want to be, anywhere near the enemy team, but now you're kind of putting yourself to have to be.
Well, I don't think the range matters. The radius is the part that really matters, because every time you auto-attack with that level 7, you're reducing the cooldowns, so in theory you're hitting more heroes with it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I didn't realize that it did the Blizzard reduction.
So we have another potential invade coming here from the side of ProBUs. There goes the Stim Drone out onto Beefrush, doing a lot of damage over onto Dragon. He gets hit. The Blizzard comes out, gets him brought down really low, and that is going to be Jaina picking up the first kill from ProBUs. And that's the power of taking a 5v4 fight. Dahaka was split pushing in the top lane, didn't come down, and they lost the team fight.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing that they had happen in the top lane, right? They didn't have their full team there. They had the camp, but not enough to make it, justifiable. Just a note to point out again, because I think this is, 2 games in a row here that Stukov has taken that level 4 to give the 15 armor against that Raynor.
I think it's a little bit more of a intelligent pick just because of the team comp they have. Huge Sanctification coming out, blocking all of that damage from Mephisto. Consume Souls is a good ult, by the way. A lot of damage coming out from both teams. No one quite going down yet. There we go. Malma Morales is the first one to go down. Secret Asian Man is not quite able to walk out of there as the Eldrune's Might secures that kill. Cowboy Kyle and D-Whip putting themselves in the way of Lunara and... No, sorry, the Stukov and the Dahaka to make sure that they couldn't run out of there. And that is a 4-for-1 in the favor of the defective Juice Pirates.
So now they get some damage here onto this fort. They don't yet have the Beetle up here to provide the kind of fort pressure, but he's getting up here. Doesn't have a lot of health, but as long as he's careful here, he can provide that value, and they should be able to get this keep well before anybody's up. I don't think they can win the game here, but certainly this provides them significant value now and a path to victory as the boss comes up in 10 seconds.
Yeah, Juice Pirates is a lot slower when you have to run to the enemy keep.
Boss coming online, and this is a good spot for them to be in. They don't have Sanctification yet. 20 seconds until that. The Siege camp going to be going in the bot lane, so if they can keep an eye on what's going on with the enemy team. What did they take at 13? They get Holy Ground? Got Sword of Justice. Okay. So they may be looking to get 20 and then just try to take a team fight.
They can also see Dahaka's in the bottom lane, so if they can find and isolate anyone, try to take another 5v4, that'd be really good for them. But level 20s are now being picked up for the side of Zildjian Distillery. We have Holy Arena, Hardened Shield coming out for Anubarak. There goes the fight coming out. Secret Asian Man gets put in a really weird spot.
Tried to use Leaping Strike to jump over the Anubarak, but didn't have anywhere to go. Geometry is not good. Isolation missing.
Sage trying to get away, but actually you can't use that E to get away, Sage. It's not how that ability works. That is a 3 for nothing, and I think we're just going to see them run through bottom now. They still have Sanctification up. You can still Juice Pirates the core.
I think you need the ship to make it a Juice Pirates, but yes, you can still go in hard. They do have the Arthas army and Dahaka pulling DWIT in there, but ultimately, you know, they're going to get some damage onto Morales, but Morales isn't the target that's really going to cause this core to go down. It's
there's that sanctification.
And level 20 gives them the additional damage too, so big burst of damage out. Now Stim Drone on B-Fresh as it's under 50%, and presumably he's got Exterminate, which, I'm sorry, Execute. Exterminate, I think, is the level 1.
And that is going to be game number 3 going over to Zul'jin Distillery. GG. All of the juice, none of the pirates. I like that.
Quick look at the stats there and the talents. So a little bit different build, as we mentioned, from the Jaina. For what it's worth, Anubrak going into that, is it Hardened Carapace or Hardened Shield? Or Hardened Shield, there we go. I had 20 instead of the Rewind. I don't think it really ultimately mattered at that point. Good games between these teams. That was a good series. I'm glad that we cast that.
Yeah, it was really interesting back and forth between the two teams. Honestly, either team could have won basically any of those games, which is what you tend to want to see as a caster. You don't want to just have one-sided stomps the whole time. Though they can be fun too in their own way.
Yeah, it's fun to see combos landing and actually converting into massive team wipes. But if that's happening every single time, then you just sit around and wait for them to push hard and ultimately win the video game. So, well, Ektar, I have a practice I got to get to. I'm sure that I've got some impatient folk waiting for me. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's the end of the day. We've done 6 casts today. Ektar joined me for the last 2, Psychic for the mid 2, Butte Holiday for the first 2. Ektar, anything you want to say to chat, the Twitch people at home, as we wrap this up?
2 things. Once again, get your flex games on the calendar, and then be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Thank you, Alice. I appreciate that follow-up. Well, it's been a pleasure, as always. I appreciate you stopping by for the co-cast tonight, Ektar. Twitch chat, you guys have been great. Anywhere from 20 to 25 people throughout the day. I hope you've enjoyed the Sunday replay, as we got a whole lot of Div D action tonight. There are a couple of games left tonight, and also some replays that'll be coming out for next week. So don't miss any of the action. Keep an eye on your calendar. Keep an eye on your division chat, as there are a lot of games being cast this coming week. So have a great night, Ektar.
You as well, and good luck in your practice.
Thank you very much. See you later, folks.